Well, good evening, class. Welcome to Lesson 7-2. So like we talked about in class, all of Chapter 7 is going to be about organizing and analyzing and displaying data. Okay, and that's actually the name for today's lesson, organizing and displaying data. But that's actually really the theme of the whole chapter. So really what we're going to learn about specifically in this lesson is frequency tables and line plots. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, let's take a random data set that I've already generated, and there's all the numbers: 2307111982812871861. And I don't know, these could be the number of people. Oh, maybe it's the number of kids. Let's say we took a survey of all the teachers at school, and this is the number of kids in each of their families, or something like that. Okay, you know, it could represent a lot of different things. All right, what I'm going to teach you how to do today is we're going to make a frequency table out of that. Okay, and what a frequency table is? Frequency is how often something happens. So we say something happens with a lot of frequency when it happens a lot. So if you get hiccups every day in every class, I would say that you're getting hiccups with a lot of frequency. Okay, something, or we could also use the word to mean low frequency. Like, you know, I only get hiccups once a year, so my hiccups happen with a low frequency. All right, so here's how you make a frequency table. All right, first of all, we're going to put our data. Let's use black. All right, so we're going to have our actual data. I don't know what it represents, but if in real life, we would probably have whatever it really represents, like kids in the family. Okay, the next column is going to be a tally, and then the last is going to actually be the frequency, and we'll just abbreviate that frequency. Okay? Now, this is a little bit tricky. When you're doing numeric data, really quickly scan the list and look for the smallest and the biggest number. So it goes from 0 to 9. And even if you don't see a 4 or a 5, you're going to put every number down when it's numeric like this. So we're going to go from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and now what we're going to do, just like when you're putting the numbers in order in the median, we're going to go ahead and we're going to take each number out and we're going to put a tally down. So we've got a 2, a 3, a 0. Okay, and as I go, I'm just going to cross them out. A 7, a 1, another 1. Okay, a 9, an 8, and a 2. I'm just doing 3 at a time to go a little faster. 9, 8, 2. That'll be a second 2. 9, 8, 2. 8, 1, 2. Another 8, another 1, another 2. That's 8, 1, 2. 8, 7, 1. 8, 7, 1. And finally 8, 6, 1. 8, 6, that's the first one of those. Be careful, you line them up carefully. Okay? 8, 6, and then one more 1. And remember when you're doing tally marks, when you get to the fifth one, you put the line across. So it's real easy to count groups of 5. All right, and then the last step is really easy. You just count the tallies. So this isn't actually a frequency table yet. The frequency is this part right here. So now all you got to do is count them. So 1, 5, 3, 1. The frequency on 4 and 5, neither of them happened, so we're going to actually write down zeros for those. 6 is 1, 7 was 2, and again, make sure you line up. It's a better idea to do this on line paper. 8 was 4, and 9 was 1. Okay? And if for some reason I'm having trouble seeing that, I might recopy the data so it's closer to the frequency, and you'll be able to pair them up a little bit better. Okay. If I did something like that, I could put little equal signs here, and so this is the 0, this is the 1, this is the 2, this is the 3, and so I could do something like that to make it a little easier to read. Okay? You don't have to, but that's what you could do. So that's a frequency table. So you write out your data. Now if your data isn't numeric, let's say we did a survey of what everybody's favorite color was, you write down all the different possible answers here for the data, and then do the same thing. You do tally and frequency. Okay? That's it. If you know what the test questions are ahead of time, like if I'm going to give people 5 choices of colors, again, I would put all 5 colors down for my data, even if nobody picks periwinkle for their favorite color. Okay, or just, you know, for instance. All right, now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the second thing. I'm going to use the same data. So we're going to take this frequency table that we just made, and we're going to copy it. Okay, and let's go to a new slide, and let's go ahead and paste that in. Okay. And we'll move it over a little bit, and there we go. So there's my data that I just made on the last slide. And now what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to make a line plot. And all a line plot is a number line. Okay? It's a number line just like this. And again, just like I put all my data in here, I'm going to put all my data in again. So I've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then stop. Notice those are nice and evenly spaced. And again, I'm going to label every number, even if I don't use it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the labels in. Okay, and I could even go to 10 if I want to. I don't have to, but since there's a little space there, I might as well do it. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw, it's going to look a lot like a bar graph. For each of these numbers, I'm going to put it 1x for every time it happens. So 0 doesn't happen at all. Oh, sorry, 0 did happen once, so we're going to put an x there. Okay, and I want all my x's to be the same size, so you'll see how many stack up. Now the 1 was the most popular one. In fact, there's a name for that. We just talked about it last night. That's called the mode because it happens the most. And I know that goes up into my chart, but that's okay. Okay, so there's 5 x's for 1. 2 happened 3 times, so we're going to put 2 x's on. Hold on a second. No, 2 happened 3 times. So my bad, I got confused by this. Let's get rid of that. Okay, 2 happened 3 times. 3 happened once, so 1x. Notice all my x's are the same size. All right, let's keep going here. 4 doesn't happen, 5 doesn't happen, so I just leave those blank. 6 happened once, and this is where it's a little hard to line up. Okay, 7 happens twice, and again, when you get over here, notice that my x's should always line up. So my 2's here and here, okay, line up with this 2 right here. All right, I'm going to take those away so that it doesn't look like we have minus x's. How many times did 8 happen? 4 times, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 9 happens once. Okay, and that's it. That is my line plot. Now, all graphs always get a label, and I really should have done this with the frequency table as well. And so that should represent what we're looking at in terms of the data. What does it represent? Okay, and it turns out that this one was phone calls made by employees in a day. So you literally write that out. Phone calls. This is what the data actually came from. Okay, phone calls made per day. Okay, and so let's say we work in a little small company, and I'm going to just chart how many times one of my employees makes a, let's say it's a personal phone call. So we had some days where they made no calls, some days where they made 9 calls. Okay, it happened a lot that somebody made 1 call during the day. Okay, and that's what your data says. So that labels both the frequency table and in this case the line plot as well. And if you want to go on and say a little bit more, like phone calls made per day by employees at XYZ company, you can do that. Okay, so 2 important ways to organize data are line plots and frequency tables. Now, the reverse is also true. Like if somebody gives you a line plot, you should be able to look at this graph down here, okay, and be able to answer questions about it. So if I told you that this is a graph, a line plot of the phone calls that were made per day, I could say, well, how many days were 7 calls made? So you look at 7, you see the 2 x's, and you say, 2. Okay. When you do line plots, each x always represents a single data point. Okay, so it would not be practical if you were doing a huge amount of data where you're going to have line plots of hundreds high. You would use a regular bar graph for that. And we'll talk more about regular bar graphs. If this looks kind of like a bar graph to you, then you're already thinking right, and that's what we'll talk about next. All right, I want to keep this video concise. So that's what I have for frequency tables and line plots. We will practice these in class tomorrow before we go away for February break. So thanks for watching, everybody. See you in class tomorrow.